If there's one thing I know about the internet, it's that it doesn't slow down. We are back with another de-influencing video where I show you things I've seen on my TikTok feed and essentially tell you not to buy them. If you're new here, hi, my name's Alyssa, and on this corner of the internet, we talk about all things thrifting, sustainability, conscious consumption, community. So if that sounds like something you're into, stick around and subscribe because we talk about these topics every single week. A quick disclaimer before we start, per usual. The videos I am about to show you are for the purpose of showing you the product I'm talking about. This has nothing to do with the creator. Don't go find them. Don't say nasty things about them. And if you already maybe own one of these products or you really like one of these products, that is okay. This video is for people who are trying to reduce their spending, reduce their consumption, whether that is for themselves, their wallet, the planet. And with that being said, let's get into it. First on my list is dipping right into the holiday season, this gift wrapping gadget. Now, you guys already know how I feel for the most part about gadgets in general. They can be really great for people with disabilities, people with limited mobility, people with things like hand pain who can't use scissors for too long, but it's never marketed that way. If those things I mentioned do not apply to you, ask yourself, how often are you really wrapping gifts to where you fully need to spend money on something like this when you have something like scissors and tape that already serves the same purpose? If you truly dislike cutting wrapping paper that much, I recommend going to the thrift store and finding thrifted bags, baskets, even holiday tins to wrap your gifts in. It's going to truly be a better investment because you can use them over and over again each year. And this feels like something you will buy and it'll end up in some tote or corner in the basement and you'll forget about it and never see it again. At first, I did not think much of this video at all until I realized they are literally selling you all of the lip pencils in this video. It's called like a lip pencil vault, and you have to be a very specific type of person or a person with a very specific type of profession to need all of these lip pencils. At the end of the day, most of us don't need this. And in fact, all it's going to do is add more excess and more clutter to your makeup pile, to your life, and it'll also make you spend more money than you have to. Realistically, we won't end up liking every single one of these shades on ourselves. I bet most of us two to four of these lip pencils we would like. You'd then be better off buying 2 to 4 lip pencils. And I grew up on 2010's makeup YouTubers. I know how quickly stuff like this gets normalized. Towards the end of college, I remember looking at all of my makeup in my overflowing drawer and baskets, and I realized I don't even like how most of it looked on me. Also, I wasn't even that good at makeup. I thought I was. I really did, but I was not. I had to get real with myself and thin out my collection to what really made me feel confident. And I have a hard time believing that if you're buying a vault of a ton of lip pencils, that all of them make you feel truly confident. Instead of wasting my money on things that will clutter my home, I'd rather spend it on experiences that actually improve my life. How about finally learning the language you've always put off experimenting with? That's why I'm so excited that Babbel is the sponsor of today's video. Babbel is one of the top language learning apps in the world, and it's what I've been using to finally fulfill my goal of learning Spanish. I'm not kidding when I say for the past month or two, my boyfriend has listened to me try to speak Spanish into my phone before bed every night, and the app feels like a game, but before I knew it, I was actually learning more of the language. Going through dialogue scenarios and listening to the Babbel podcast in the app has been the most helpful tools in my journey so far. Plus, it's just fun actually spending time on something I've always wanted to learn rather than just scrolling on my phone. Literally, let me show you. This is everything I've already done. I'm currently in Unit 7. We're gonna hit start.
Hola, Elena.
Hola, Luis. ¿Dónde estáis?
¿Estáis?
Nosotros estamos en el metro.
¿Estamos?
¿Y tú? ¿Dónde estás?
¿Estás?
Yo estoy enfrente del cine. esperando.
Estoy, and then I'll typically listen to the whole thing over again and try to repeat as much as I can. If you also want to start your language learning journey, click my link to get up to 55% off during Babbel's Black Friday sale, and let me know what language would you like to learn. It's these cute little coffee cups, and inside is a themed lip kit. So it has a lip pencil, a lipstick, a lip gloss, and I wanted to share this because I think it's a great example of how good marketing and good packaging can make us want to overconsume. There is nothing wrong with products we buy having fun packaging. I think that's great. But we do have to recognize the goal of this packaging design is to make it not only more desirable, but make it look almost collectible, like you need all of them, when in fact you do not. Because when you really peel back the layers, when you take off the packaging, which by the way, when it's thrown into your makeup bag or into your makeup drawer, you're not going to keep this coffee cup. When you remove all of that and you're just looking at the lip kits, this is just a nude lip kit. Nothing more. If you run out and you want to buy this, great. Although I do think there are some more sustainable brands you could choose instead. But I don't think it's okay to have this obsessive desire to collect them all and want it right now. Because one, it's not good for our mental health, constantly chasing something we could never fulfill, which is buying enough stuff. And two, what is the fun in buying everything new whenever you haven't even stopped to enjoy what you already have? This video claims that this zip-up hoodie helps with anxiety. Oh my gosh. I don't even know where to start with this one. People have to get so creative to sell you clothing like this, and you want to know why? It's because athleisure is basic. It's easy to find, and it's absolutely flooding the thrift stores. There is really no reason for you to pay a premium for something like this. So that's why you end up getting advertisements on your page making, can I say that's a bold-faced lie? I mean, as somebody with anxiety who has gone on a roller coaster the past few years with their anxiety, I wish this zip-up hoodie was what was gonna help me. So just think, when somebody says something and it feels like there's no way that could be true, right? If you hear it enough times, you might start to be like, maybe it's true. So I wanted to catch one like this now and tell you it's not. Okay, and if something feels too good to be true, it feels wrong, trust your gut instinct, it probably is. Cheap retailers copying vintage items and trying to sell it back to you at a premium price. First off, I see these in thrift stores all the time, right? But if the thrift store isn't your jam, or you're not very lucky at the thrift stores this year, eBay and Poshmark are going to be your best friend for things like this, or honestly, possibly even Etsy. And if I'm being honest, I don't even think the print looks that great. It kind of looks like the dollar store version of one of these vintage crew necks, except it's not $1, it's $25. And it's also giving this idea that you can purchase nostalgia. This happens every year, especially around the holidays. Spoiler alert, you cannot purchase nostalgia, but you know what you can do? You could get off your phone. You could take a second for yourself to kind of lower your stress levels for a moment and remember what actually made things nostalgic. Traditions is one example, and that doesn't always mean an activity. Sometimes that means putting out the same decor every single year. It could also mean thrifting actual nostalgic decor from the time you're nostalgic about. It could be developing new traditions that you know you could look forward to year after year to make the holidays a little more special, but you will never be able to simply purchase that feeling, so don't try. You're only doing a disservice to yourself. Am I crazy for not understanding this one? I mean, I get that it's a Jellycat collectible, but what is going on here? This looks like a disaster waiting to happen. How is it really keeping your coffee secure? Why is there a designated bag for this? At this point, I could have brought my own reusable cup to the coffee shop that has a nice secured lid and insulation so it's comfy to hold. Also, when I get a coffee, I suck it down. I don't have time to be putting it in a bag after every sip because I'm just gonna take it right back out. What do you mean? I don't even think this thing's insulated, so it's not like it's keeping your coffee colder. To go along with that, I saw this. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's so cute. It is cute. It is cute. But hear me out, hear me out. That doesn't mean we need it. I didn't buy this. I don't have to buy this. I think it's adorable. I don't have to buy it. First off, it being $25, kind of insane. And maybe that's just my brain being acclimated to thrift store prices, but can you blame me? There are so many mugs at the thrift store I see every week already that if I'm not doing something that, you know, really aligns with me, like supporting a local maker, for example, I have a really hard time buying one new. And honestly, even though it's cute, I could easily see this in a year or two ending up at the thrift store on the shelf with the other ones. And side note, that lid looks absolutely terrible. When you get a close-up look at it, it doesn't look like it secures very well. I could be wrong. I'm just saying that's what it looks like. This creator said, is it actually a gag gift if it's functional? I don't know, but it certainly is clutter. I think with all the resources it takes to create this one throwaway speaker, which is exactly what this is, by the way. I can't imagine this thing sounds good or is repairable or would last a long time. For all the resources it takes to build this, why not just purchase them an actually nice little speaker? Something more timeless, maybe by a brand that's more reputable, maybe sorting through some reviews of these speakers and products to see the longevity of them, how good they sound, because it might be funny in the moment, but once the day is over and once those laughs die down, you're just left with a piece of clutter in your home. Well, that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know, what is something you've seen online recently that you've had to de-influence yourself from buying? It is a great habit to start getting into, especially as we approach the holiday seasons. I've seen some of you say that whenever you go to certain stores, you feel like I'm just like on your shoulder telling you not to buy things. And okay, I love to hear it, because we really could always afford to be a little more conscious with our spending, especially during a time of year that's pushing us to spend more. And don't forget to subscribe so I see you here again next week. Okay, love you.